You can't just go to a store and not find anything and go, oh, that store sucks. No, you have to go to that store a lot of different days at a lot of different times. You need to develop relationships with the people that work there. Keep a fucking spreadsheet.
In this video, we're going to go over step-by-step how to sell your first $10,000 on Amazon FBA. I'm joined here with Reezy Resells, who has sold over $10 million in about 500 years on Amazon FBA. I'm just kidding. He's probably about 15 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
And over the last year, he's helped 10 people via private coaching sell over $10,000 per month on Amazon. And I'm going to say over the last 10 years via his content, via being not sponsored, but featured on Gary V's podcast, all the content he's put out to reach almost 500,000 subs on YouTube, he's probably helped 2, 3, 10,000 people sell hundreds of thousands on Amazon FBA. You were saying last night, maybe even like hundreds of millions.
Yeah, because I know it's in the thousands for sure. Yeah. And some of those people are doing millions a year, you know? So I wish I really could quantify it like on the McDonald's, you know, like 99 billion served or whatever. But I gotta say it's like in the hundreds of millions, because if I think 10 million, I'm like, there's at least one person doing that per year.
Yeah. So
learn from my free YouTube content.
The format of this call, we're going to go over what he does with a private one-on-one coaching student of his, and you guys are going to get absolutely free here. This is what he would tell his coaching students. So go ahead and break it down.
All right. Well, it's going to be a little different because you're not actually here to ask me those questions. You know, maybe
just pretend like you are.
Avery can pretend to be you, and then can ask the questions you would have asked. But
so what do I do?
Okay, so for the most part, first off, I explain to people about, you know, how Amazon works, how Amazon FBA works, and I talk to them about restricted items. Pretty much one of the first things that I tell people is like, hey, you can't sell everything. You know, you have to know is like how to tell if something's restricted on Amazon.
You mind holding this real quick?
Yeah. You can just hold it the whole time, though. It's kind of luxury. So I'll teach people, you know, how to tell if things are restricted, which you can do with the Amazon Seller app, or which you could do with Selleramp, which is a lot easier. And then also, like, what's the process? So, like, oh, you can't sell it, but can you request? And if you can request. And did you get auto-approved or not? Or did it ask you for invoices? If it asked you for an invoice, did you upload a picture of a retail receipt? And did it get approved within 5 minutes or not? If it didn't, then you know you need a real invoice to get approved, and you have to purchase 10 units. Make sure you read, you know, the rules on Amazon or whatever, but the supplier that I like to use is just target.com, their website. You order 10 units of the cheapest thing. That means $5 to $10, so $50 to $100 will get you ungated for any brand that Target carries. You'll get an invoice with 10 units. It actually says invoice. It's legit, and you'll submit it to Amazon, but they will probably refuse it. And so you have to understand that we deal with a lot of ABS, which stands for Amazon bullshit, and it's entirely automated. So even though you have an invoice that's good, known, working, and will be accepted, you might have to submit it 5, 10, 20 times before they actually accept it, and then you're allowed to be approved to sell that brand in that category. And there's also, you know, some basic rules, like don't buy stuff that you're not ungated to sell already, thinking you're going to go buy stuff later and then get submitted, because you don't know when you're going to do that or how long that's going to take and what the price will be of that item when you're finally able to sell it anyways. So sure, there are some brands you want to ungate and get into, like Lego, Disney, Star Wars, especially if it's coming on fourth quarter. You know, whatever you want to sell, you probably know what those big brands are. So that's kind of step one. Step two is understanding how to use the Amazon Seller app, because you can list with that, right? You can look up items. It's not the most efficient, but no matter what, you're going to be using that to like check your customer messages, to monitor your account health, to see if Amazon sent you anything you need to look at, right? So that's, you know, you need to know how to do that. After that, it comes down to sourcing items and then making some sales. And I tell people that you need to make your first 10 sales. And to do that, you might need to scan 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 items. But you need to trust the process and go out and scan these items. And where are you going to get items to sell on Amazon? It depends on where you live and what you have access to, but if you have a lot of Walmarts around you, Walmart clearance is great. But we're not scanning every single thing in the store. We're just scanning the clearance, right? And if you find a killer thing, Go to the next Walmart and see if they have that too, so you can get more items per your time. If you don't have Walmarts or you're done with Walmarts, we're going to hit liquidation stores. So we got Marshalls, Ross, Burlington, TJ Maxx, all of those stores. Stores that regularly have clearance and have sales on their clearance, like Kohl's has like an extra 50 or 75% off their clearance once a month. Like that's something that you go to, right? But that's an event. If you don't have an event happening or a route or a certain sale or whatever, you're just hitting these liquidation stores. And the reason we hit these liquidation stores or outlet malls is because they are selling products that other people already tried to sell and they are cheaper. So they basically, the whole store's on discount, right? It's like the whole store is a clearance aisle, and there's more opportunity for there to be margin between what the price that, for example, Marshalls is selling it for and what we can buy it for. So then we go in there and we scan stuff, and we have to know how to use Selleramp. So I can't easily explain to you how to use Selleramp because I would normally do that with like a screen recording and showing you how to use it or whatever. And obviously we have those videos in the training program, but on an intake call with a new person, I would be on Zoom showing them how to use Selleramp like while doing it, right? So that's very important. And on the computer, it's the same as using it on the phone. It's exactly the same. Best retail arbitrage app ever. Definitely get it. But once you know how to use that, like, okay, what do? Obviously, you could scan the whole store. That will take a while, but that will produce results, and you will learn over time what you should be scanning and what you shouldn't, and what has better supply in different categories, or maybe certain stores suck. You know, there's just some Marshalls or some whatever stores just suck, but then the store down the road from that one is killer. But you won't know if you don't scan. You know, and part of that is also learning the cycle of the store. It's super, there's a lot of in-depth shit here, but it's just like, you can't just go to a store and not find anything and go, oh, that store sucks. No, you have to go to that store a lot of different days at a lot of different times. You need to develop relationships with the people that work there. Keep a fucking spreadsheet that says on Monday, I went at 8 p.m. and I found 3 items, but on Tuesday, I went at 4 p.m. and I found 18 items, and then yada, yada, yada. And if you do that, you can eventually look back at the data and go, wow, these days, like just give it to ChatGPT and say what days are the best days to go to that store, and it will tell you based on the data, right? Because you don't know if it's good or if your competition's clearing it out. And then on the other hand, when you find a good one, clear it the fuck out so that the next people that come never think it's good and don't start going there regularly. So you have to find the stores that work for you. You have to develop the routes. If you're in a liquidation store where obviously it could be really overwhelming because you could scan the whole store, not just the clearance aisle, look for the items that cost more. And so what I mean by that is like the items that have a bigger margin. So for example, if you're looking at crew neck sweaters, and there's some Adidas ones, right? And they're all $19.99 at Marshalls. But when you look at the Adidas tags, some of them are $39.99 and some of them are $74.99, but they're all $19.99 at Ross or Marshalls or whatever. We're going to scan the ones that are $74.99 retail because they have a higher chance of selling for closer to that price, which means we are more likely to have margin, right? And when you find an item that's profitable and sells well, and you know how to tell that from reading Selleramp, then you buy all of them, you know, and maybe they all sell out really fast and you do good, or maybe you made a bad decision and they don't sell, and next time you make a better decision. A lot of selling on Amazon is just learning how to read the data, but also understanding that it's not perfect. There is some subjectivity to it, and sometimes you make a decision that you think is good, but maybe you didn't buy enough or you bought too many, and then based on the results, you adjust, and then the next time you go into a situation that has similar metrics, you make a better decision. And I think that's how buyers get better at buying and sourcing over time, is because there's a lot of things, like for example, this product is kind of iffy, but there's no FBA offer, so I'm sending it every time because there's no FBA offer, because we know that 80% of Amazon customers buy FBA offers. So if a bad ranking item or not selling well but profitable has no FBA offer, maybe it sells really well if there is a FBA offer, right? Like that might not seem so intuitive, but think about if it's completely out of stock, it obviously looks like it doesn't sell well because it's out of stock and nobody can buy it. So maybe if we put it in stock, it will sell. There's, you know what I mean? There's like a lot of like fence sitting decisions, and you have to know how to go either way. But aside from networking with other sellers, networking with stores, you know, making real relationships with stores, keeping spreadsheets to remember the store managers' names, their kids' name. If their kid's name is Timmy and he plays soccer and they told you, write that down. And then one time when you find some crazy soccer jerseys on clearance or soccer balls or whatever, bring one in and give it to them to give to their son. Like, oh, I got your son a thing. Or like call them by their name and they all might be shocked at first that you remember their name, but after a while they'll remember you are the person that calls them by the name, and then they'll want to know your name, and that's how you build a relationship. You do a really good sourcing trip, you give them a Starbucks gift card, or you DoorDash a pizza to the break room, whatever you can get away with. Pretty soon people are texting you like, yo Avery, those Legos that are 20% off, we're putting them to 50% off tomorrow, or actually at midnight tonight. The system will make them 50% off, but they won't get tagged until tomorrow at 4. You should come to Walmart after midnight tonight and fill up carts of Legos, and that might make you $5,000 or $10,000. Just one relationship, you know what I mean? So aside from that, obviously you're going to merchant fulfill, you're going to make FBA shipments, but just know that you could get to $100,000 a year as a single person doing retail arbitrage. But if you want to scale past that, you're going to have to start bringing help in. At the very least, you're going to have people shipping out your MF orders or shipping out your FBA shipments so that you can just continuously focus on sourcing, you know, so that you can source, you know, send out 2 big shipments every week. Like, that's pretty fire. You know what I mean? If you send out 2 big shipments every week and you're sourcing 40 plus hours a week as a single person busting ass, you could probably do $100,000 a month. But if you have to also send out all the shipments, you'll be lucky to do like $50,000 a month. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just a ceiling on your time. But to be honest, it is extremely simple. You buy low, you sell high, you find the suppliers, you make relations, you learn how to read the data. So another part of the call would be going over Keepa and learning how to read Keepa charts, you know, and also I'm going to look at like what's your specific issues. You know, maybe you work full time, and when you get off work, it's 10 p.m. So you can only source basically Walmart clearance, retail arbitrage, because they're open 24 hours a day. Everybody has different like needs and wants. So part of the program is like tailoring it to work for everybody. But for the most part, you just need to buy and then continuously ship shit out and just trust the process. You know what I mean? And you'll just get better and better. And the people that have the most success, like the people that do 100,000 in sales in their first year or 10,000 a month within the first couple months versus the ones that don't, is because they just trust the process and they go and scan. And 99% of the time when people are like, well, I'm not having success, and I'm like, yo, how many things did you scan? And it's not even 100. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, show me your Selleramp history. You know, they won't. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can only lead you to water. You still have to drink it. But everybody that works with me also, after the intake call, they get my actual cell phone number. They can text me every day. They can call me if they really need it. Like, I genuinely, if you want to win and you're ready to put the work in, I will help you get there. And there's no way you're going to fail in that scenario. The only way you fail is you don't put the work in. Do you know what I mean? Because like, I care about the students so much that like I care too much, probably to the point where like I'm hurt inside when you're not putting the work in. Yep. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Get your Selleramp, get your Keepa education, find your suppliers, learn how to send out FBA shipments using GoToLister because it's really, really fastest listing software on the planet. Get your repricing dialed with Aura. And that's it. From there, I would just focus on networking with other sellers and, you know, making more relations with stores, because you'll just find more products, and you should have like 10 little groups of Amazon seller friends of 2 or 3 people each where you guys help each other out. And then now you're doing the same amount of work you were normally doing, but you're able to find 3 to 4 times more product because you have more eyeballs and more brains, you know, finding the profitable items.
Heck yeah. Good stuff. Go subscribe, guys. Reezy Resells. Also, link his Selleramp tutorial below if you guys want to go check that out. Much love. Peace.